The James Show Podcast.
As dart's fate hangs in the balance, I'm here trying to push it over the edge. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. In fact, I don't want to push it over the edge. I want to do that Sparta kick. Remember at the beginning of 300 when the dude's standing in front of the big pit and King Leonidas just front kicks him right in the chest and it goes in the hole. And he says, "This is Sparta." Yeah, that's what I want to do to dart. My next guest, Tony Ortiz, just did hilarious work over the weekend. He gave himself a little tour of the dart facilities, and the results are hilarious. Welcome back, Tony Ortiz from CurrentRevolt.com.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, before we get into the details, what made you go on a tour of dart? Were you just celebrating the excitement of the new Silverline, or what?
Gosh, I have a little bit better ways to celebrate day-to-day stuff, but no. So there's a big, I guess, scandal or happening going on where several North Texas cities are considering leaving dart. And what I mean by leaving dart is they're considering not funding it anymore. For example, the city of Plano gives $109 million a year to dart, and that's just the city of Plano. That doesn't include the other cities, and to keep it going. And the cities feel like they're not getting their money's worth, and they're citing that, one, dart is dangerous, and then two, that nobody's using it. And that's the argument from the pro-dart side.
Oh, stop it! You're getting me excited on the anti-dart side, because in just what is beautiful, seductive music to my ears, Plano is having that meeting today on whether or not to put fate of dart on the ballot for an election next year. So I'm
correct.
Very much looking forward to the results of that. All right, so that's a perfect setup. Now tell me about the tour you did itself. Where all did you go? What all did you see?
Yeah, so decided to just check it out myself. I haven't ridden the dart since 2017. I looked at my receipts the other day, and I think that was for the state fair. I think most people use the dart for that sometimes. But so I decided to make it an all-day incursion. I went to the dart station early in the morning for rush hour, or what I assumed would be rush hour.
Wait, what day was this?
Monday morning.
Just
Monday
2 days ago?
Week. Yes.
I thought
2 days ago.
I thought this was over the weekend. So it was this dead on a Monday?
Yes, that's what's surprising, right? I specifically am trying to prove that the dart is busy. I really am. I'd like to know that taxpayers aren't wasting their money. But I showed up on a Monday morning and it is dead. There is nobody there.
What time of day is this? When you say in the morning?
8 a.m.
So it should be packed.
It should be packed. And even then, even if you can make the argument that, people left a little bit earlier, the parking lot was empty. So people aren't commuting. And if they are commuting, they're maybe using Uber or something else, because there's no cars in the parking lot. So I hop on, I get on, I purchase my ticket, and I get on the train. It's almost exclusively men. And of the 3 carts connected in my section of the train, there's maybe 6 people in it, tops. And I ride all the way to downtown Dallas, multiple stops. Nobody checks my ticket. Nobody confirms that I paid to be on and I'm a paying customer. Plenty of homeless hopping on and off. It's quite smelly. And I get off and, that was it. There was nothing there. So I thought, okay, surely the buses will be busier, because DART also includes the buses that go all across the city. So I decided to take the bus from downtown Dallas into far north Dallas and did about 13, 14 stops on the buses. And also completely empty. I rode the back of the bus to try to even see if there was just more people in front of me, and there was nobody there. Completely empty. And that was just my experience the entire day. I rode the buses and the train from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and there was nobody using this thing. In fact, at the end of my day, there were more employees at the dart station than there were customers.
That's hilarious.
Very much a waste of taxpayer dollars.
All right, we're talking with Tony Ortiz from CurrentRevolt.com. If you're new to the show, I hate dart with the hot heat of 1,000 suns. It's been the biggest boondoggle in North Texas history, maybe all of Texas history, but definitely for the DFW area. There's been no bigger drain on your finances, on your traffic, on the budgets of everyone involved. And Tony Ortiz did some great work over here. Now, if I try and criticize the tour that you did of DART on Monday, you go through and you show that it's an absolute ghost town, meaning that all this money that we're paying into it is just being flushed down the toilet. What would you say to the person is like, yeah, you selectively edited that?
Well, I was actively trying to make a case that this thing was busy, right? And furthermore, I spoke in our story. You can watch, and I spoke to a gentleman who's been riding the Dart since 2018, and he uses it every single day. And I asked him, "Is it normally this dead?" "Oh yeah, it's normally this dead." "Is it dangerous?" "Yeah." He told me, yes, there's certain spots that he won't even get off on because it's dangerous. He tells a story of how he's been robbed before on the Dart. And then I ended with asking him, does he as a rider, as a user who's been using it for years, does he think it's a waste of taxpayer money? And he goes, absolutely. He agreed that he himself agreed. A guy who's using the Dart every day since 2018 said that it was a waste of taxpayer money. So, these people that are pro Dart can say it's selectively edited or that it's pushing an agenda, but the fact is that it really is a waste of money, and nobody is really using it to the amount that people want to think it's being used.
So let me ask some predictions here. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you think Plano's going to decide today?
Yeah, here's what I think will happen, and I would put money on this. I think that they will vote. City Council will vote to put it up to voters to decide if they want to stay into Dart, right? I think the city wouldn't waste its time holding a meeting if they didn't think this would pass. So they will put it on a ballot vote. And then I would put money that the referendum fails and that they do continue funding Dart. Plano over the years has become a blue city. And unfortunately, this is a partisan issue. The Democrats and the liberals and the progressives of Plano, for some reason, are obsessed with public transport and obsessed with having these very expensive buses and trains available for nobody that's using them. And they think that this is a Republican issue and that it's a Trump thing, and they want to keep funding it. So Plano will continue paying to this thing for the foreseeable future.
Damn it, Tony, you're breaking my heart. Now, listen, if you see Tony's report, and I encourage you to go do so, and you think that it's selectively edited to look dead, here's what I have to push back against that. Where I'm at right now, our studio's at the American Airlines Center. There's a big Dart station that's across the street from us to my left. Just go set up a lawn chair out there, bring a cold beer, and watch all the empty trains just show up. The door's open. No one gets on, no one gets off, and the door's closed, and then it just keeps going. It's the Truman Show down here. Tony, it is really bad. And so to see other people pointing that out and doing it in a way that's kind of spreading that message, I just want to amplify that as much as I can.
Yeah. I mean, again, to your point, I sat for a while towards the end of the day watching trains come and go. And the busiest bus I saw had 6 people in it.
Okay, so Tony Ortiz, currentrevolt.com is where you can pick up some of his good work. And it's not just the trains and it's not just the buses. We're doing so much dumb stuff when it comes to transportation in this town. On the other side of our studios at the American Airlines Center, we have this bike lane, a curbed off bike lane going both directions on Houston Avenue here in downtown, where we could really use either the lane for traffic or parking, but we get to use neither. It's the safest place to take a nap in all of Dallas. No one ever uses it. And at this other bike lane over here by the Tom Thumb, they have put up in their new traffic light a traffic light for the bicycles. Have you seen one of these bicycle traffic lights, Tony?
No, I have not. And, honestly, I avoid downtown Dallas as much as possible.
Dude, come down here, do it, look at it, and it'll just make you so mad. Like, I almost had a stroke the first time I saw it because that bike lane has been there. I've been working here for 2 years, and so I don't watch it for 8 hours a day, but every time I walk by there's never been a bike. And after no traffic that I've observed for like a year and a half, they put up a light there for the non-bikes that are going on the bike path. It's insane what we do and just passes in this town. What else you got going on at Current Revolt I need to check out?
Man, we're still working on uncovering the truth of this the staffer death in the Tony Gonzalez scandal.
I don't know this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez. We broke the news a month ahead of mainstream media, where a staffer who was allegedly having an extramarital affair with Congressman Tony Gonzalez, was having an affair with him allegedly, and she died. She committed suicide via self-immolation. So she lit herself on fire. She passed away, which is horrible. But there's a lot of mystery surrounding her death and the reasons behind it. And the city of Uvalde is doing as much as it can to hide the open records request. So much so they hired a lawyer to appeal to Attorney General Ken Paxton to squash public availability of the police reports and the investigation report.
Self-immolation was the cause of death?
Yes, she, not to be too graphic, but she poured gasoline on herself and lit herself on fire.
All right, that can't be right, because people only do that if you're like a Tibetan monk that's protesting the occupation, or the pro-Palestinian guy. Remember, he self-immolated, right? Free Palestine. If you don't have some sort of political cause, people just don't really self-immolate very often. So, I mean, like, allegedly, reportedly, I don't know anything. This is baseless speculation, but it sounds more like maybe someone killed her and then burned her body to hide the evidence.
No, I wouldn't say that. Actually, the better speculation is that, and what it's leaning towards is that there was it was a death of somewhat passion involving her love life and some other things. And I don't want to get into too much personal details, but I don't believe and I don't suspect at all that Congressman Gonzalez is directly involved in or responsible for her death. But there is some speculation, or at least something to be suspicious about regarding an affair.
All right. Well, I'll be keeping an eye out for that. This is Tony Ortiz. CurrentRevolt.com is his website. It's Texas' #1 political tabloid. Thank you very much for being on the show and your great work on DART. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next on the James Show, a teacher in Salina got arrested for being drunk in class. This is WFAA, another drunk teacher in Salina.
Tonight, another Salina ISD teacher has been arrested tonight, the 6th in the past month to be arrested or put on leave. Salina police say a high school special education teaching aide appeared to be impaired. She is now charged with endangering a disabled individual. We reached out to Salina ISD and are waiting to hear back.
Apparently it's a party in Salina. Okay, not in a good way. One of the great experts in bad apples in Texas is my next guest, Aaron Anderson from Texas Scorecard, TexasScorecard.com. I feel like we already have you on this week about another drunk teacher in Salina, or was that something else?
Well, it's certainly not the first time we've talked about a similar issue, even in this particular school district. They're having a lot of troubles in Salina ISD, and people are asking, what is going on there?
Well, this is becoming a big problem, not just for the safety and well-being of our students, but, it's got to be taking up like 90% of your workday, just keeping up with the ill-behaved teachers of Texas.
Well, sadly, it does. And there are plenty of other stories that I would like to cover and that our readers would like to hear about. But there's such a huge influx of these bad teacher stories that they do take most of my time. I've done a couple today and got another one pending that I'll tee up for tomorrow.
Yeah, so Salina is really having a run at it here. This is the 4th teacher in the last few weeks that's been arrested, and they have a couple other people that are on administrative leave, like the father and the principal in one of the cases. So Salina, why is this all happening so much at just one school? Are they doing something wrong, or is this maybe happening in other schools and flying under the radar?
Well, I will certainly posit that this is happening in many other schools because I've covered it all across the state, and it's happening whether we're hearing about it or not. I suspect what may be happening in Salina ISD is that coming off the big scandal that you just referenced regarding a middle school coach recording male athletes in the locker room, and he happened to be the son of the highly celebrated head coach and athletic director in the district, known for winning football state championships, that some of this might have been swept under the rug. That's an ongoing investigation there and a shocking arrest. And so now there's a big spotlight on Salina ISD, not just for its teaching and coaching staff, but in how administrators are dealing with these issues and whether they're being fully transparent. Now, I've never seen 2 in 2 weeks of these teachers being suspected of being intoxicated or otherwise, medically impaired in the classroom like this. So I have to wonder if they are, quote, erring on the side of caution, as they like to say, because there is such a spotlight and they would rather do more than less in these cases, or if there's something else going on with these teachers in this particular district. And, it could be two absolutely randomly isolated cases that just happen to occur within a week of each other, and that maybe we wouldn't have heard about before, except for the huge statewide spotlight on Salina ISD.
Well, then you have the other coach that got in trouble. So there was a drunk teacher last week, a drunk teacher this week. There was a misbehaving, allegedly perverted coach story from last month, and now there's another one. This stems from a social media post that you reported on. While he's accused of misconduct at other schools.
Yeah. So to add to the whole mix of the broad range of education scandals happening in Salina ISD, the wrestling coach in question, who is now also on administrative leave, came from Melissa ISD, a nearby district. And so the allegation is really that Melissa ISD passed the trash, which means they hushed up some allegations and didn't put anything on this coach's record, so that when Salina went to hire him, he seemed fine. Now, there's questions of whether, what each district knew and what information they shared. We're trying to suss that out. But there you have yet another variation of how this works. So whether one district hushes up some misconduct and lets a teacher go to a new district, or whether they're hushing it up within their own district to let these people stay on staff. We've kind of got the whole range of things going on in Salina. And a Scorecard will have an article up shortly that I just did that covers the latest arrest and sort of reviews the past arrests and various staff members that are on administrative leave. For those trying to keep up with the numbers, and people are, we've got that covered. We're keeping track of it all.
Well, they're keeping you busy, unfortunately. Aaron Anderson from TexasScorecard.com. You are the go-to resource for misbehaving teachers in North Texas, and I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on, James. I appreciate it.
And you know what? I feel naive sometimes, and I need to be reminded that there really are people who are for real alcoholics, not people who drink too much when they go out or drink too much on the weekends. You people that have alcohol on your nightstand. And I use that as the example because this guy I used to work with, he was married to a clinical alcoholic. And that's when he knew it got out of control. It's because she didn't used to be that bad, but it just slowly kind of snowballed into full-blown alcoholism. And he's like, when there started being liquor on the nightstand, that's when he knew. But, I like to drink. I probably drink too much. But in the morning, before you go to school, you know how long it takes to get drunk, especially if you weigh 230 pounds. It takes a little while. But, what are you doing? Are you bombing Rumplemint shots in traffic on the way to class? How are you drunk before school starts? That's wild. And so I know, I just have to be reminded because it seems so anathema because I haven't really been adjacent to that in a long time. But I bet you there's some people out there listening right now who have the crazy alcoholic stories. I love to hear them. You can send me an email, parker@wbap.com, or you can call in and tell me whether it was you or your spouse, these people that you go to work drunk, you're not worried about losing your job. You don't think anyone will notice. You don't know that you reek. Coming up next on The James Show, there's meetings this week continuing this fantasy that we need to knock down Dallas City Hall and rebuild something in its place, or maybe hand it off to some new developer or whatnot. And it's all very suspicious. And you'll get the skeptics' take on it with Dallas Enfuego. Welcome back to The James Show, Dallas.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Where did this whole idea even come from? That all of a sudden, out of the blue this year, we started hearing conversations from multiple people all at the same time who decided that it would be a good idea to knock down City Hall.
Well, first off, you're hearing a lot of debate on whether or not we should preserve an architectural gem or whether or not it makes more sense to fix it than to build something new. But I'm going to break down what I think is really going on here. All right, are you ready? The Mavericks want a new arena. Their contract with the American Airlines Center is up in 2031.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. Why did the Mavericks want a new arena so damn bad? A lot of people are saying that, but why? There's nothing wrong with this one.
I don't understand it myself. I haven't actually heard a good reason for that.
Okay.
So if they want to move in 2031 to a new arena, they have to start the process on building one really soon. And if they leave Dallas, which there's been a threat of that happening too, that's very bad for the city. So I suspect backroom conversations at City Hall are happening between the council members, the city manager, and big developers. And I suspect all of the council members who are saying that we need to abandon City Hall before they've even so much as gotten a bid as to how much it would cost to fix it are probably working on a deal to vacate the building, sell the land, and allow builders to erect a stadium in a desperate attempt to keep our pro sports team. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if they're receiving a little sum in return for their vote. That's just a guess. I don't know. But, just knowing how things work. That's what I think is really going on here.
Isn't there a whole lot of other properties in the area that could be torn down that aren't as valuable or useful as the City Hall building?
You don't even have to tear anything down. There's tons of vacant land in South Dallas. Valley View is 110 acres. That's just north of LBJ. It's a perfect spot for a stadium, actually. I think that there's just sort of this idea of wanting to preserve downtown. The city's spending over $5 billion to put a new convention center there because everybody wants to come to Dallas for conventions, don't you know?
No.
I think they're convinced that if they were to put a stadium next to that, that's going to actually revive downtown. But getting rid of the homeless zombies that are infecting every street, that's definitely not a problem.
Yeah, what we need is more hockey games to make people come downtown. Okay, so I also feel like there's a little bit of corruption, or at least the availability of corruption, in the idea that, okay, if we move out of Dallas City Hall and knock it down, what are you going to do? You're going to lease space from some of the, 1/4 of the office space downtown at least is vacant. So who's going to be the big lottery winner who gets that contract? That seems a little suspicious.
Well, I think the bigger problem is just logistics. Most of the buildings downtown are over 40 years old, so they're going to be dealing with a lot of the same maintenance issues that they're currently dealing with. The floor plates, which is like the size of the floor itself, are much smaller, so you're going to have different departments spread all over the place. And then, of course, there's the security concerns. How are you going to lock down a building that's not made for government use? There's all kinds of problems with trying to move everybody to downtown into a leased space.
Well, I kind of like that building anyway. The one that we have, it's the same architect that did the triangle outside the Louvre. It may be the best architectural gym we have in the entire city, and they're talking about knocking it down like it's a single wide trailer.
Well, I agree with you, and I've heard compelling arguments on both sides about whether or not it's worth getting rid of it. But I tend to look at this a little bit differently. This is not a matter of preservation of our history, although albeit that is a very important part of this debate. This is about just basic management and maintenance of city property. Driving on the roads in Dallas feels like you're on a safari. I mean, the same people that can't fill a pothole think they have the intellectual wherewithal to raise City Hall and develop something into its place that's nicer. So I think we should just be looking at these people and saying, hey guys, you can't take care of your own stuff. You don't have the right to try and get a new one. If my kid breaks their toy because they don't take care of it and they come to me and they ask me for a new one, I'm like, no, go pay for it yourself. It's childish behavior.
Well, I also feel like I'm going to be seeing a Dallas Enfuego video in the near future about how someone's kid or spouse or brother-in-law got some awesome contract or job with the Mavericks or some real estate developer or construction firm or something. I think we've done this so long and we're so jaded and skeptical, we can just smell the corruption.
Yeah, well, I've got a few of those examples in my back pocket that I have yet to make videos about, but because I usually am trying to concentrate on, the stuff that I can more easily prove. That's sometimes hard to do, but yes, absolutely. There is corruption downtown, and I think we should all be looking very carefully at our city council members who are very quick to say that they want to knock down the building before we've even gotten estimates on how much it would cost to fix it.
All right, we're talking with Dallas Enfuego. He's a local DFW watchdog that keeps an eye on City Hall like a hawk, does a bunch of funny videos about it. They're on YouTube and social media elsewhere. The other story that's got me actually kind of excited is just the fact that there's even the discussion. I don't think it's going to happen, but the fact that we're actually having the conversation about cities pulling out a dart, that just has me so happy. It's like Christmas came early
don't
for me.
threaten me with a good time.
I know. So do you think it'll actually happen?
No, I really do. I think it really will happen. DART is a really nice idea in Wonderland, but it practically, economically, it doesn't make any sense. I think that this is a division between two different worldviews. The first is that any developed modern city needs to have a light rail line, and the other is we live in a city that's predominantly car transportation, and it doesn't make any economic sense to have a train. So those are the two competing views, and ultimately, I think that the latter is going to win out.
Right. It's like, why doesn't anybody want to ride the train? Because we have cars. Because cars are better. We don't need trains.
Look, in 10 years, no one's going to be driving cars anyway. They're going to be the cars are going to be driving them. So with autonomous vehicles, I mean, Elon Musk, Waymo, this is already happening. So public transportation is going to be taking the form of just autonomous cars.
All right, where would you recommend the people listening find some of your great work online, Dallas?
Follow me on X, Dallas Enfuego. Follow me on YouTube, Dallas Enfuego, and you might be able to find our group on Facebook as well.
Thank you very much. Dallas Enfuego, DFW Watchdog on The James Show. Good stuff, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The James Show Podcast.